Perfect. Well, good morning, everybody. My name is Jim Janosik. I'm a member of the Centennial Kiwanis in the Pennsylvania district. Also belong to a couple of clubs in the Ohio district, which is where I live. And this year I'm serving Kiwanis International as the Northeast USA Region 1 Club Strengthening Advisor. I'm going to bring up the chat box here and ask for participants to, let's see, where is my chat box? There's the chat. I'm going to start with a couple of questions. So use the chat box, please, and or use your reactions like a thumbs up emoji to answer a couple of questions. So first of all, who works out regularly, physically, mentally, spiritually, or emotionally? Do you do any type of regular workout? Perfect. Right, so it says mentally. Perfect. Anybody else in the, just plug it in the chat there. Spiritually, it's a good workout. Okay. Physical workout every day. Perfect. Good. I try to do one of those things periodically. Emily loves walking in her neighborhood. Chuck's starting back again today. Good. Okay, both most every day. Great. Why do we do these things? What are the reasons? What prompts you to do these things regularly? What inspires or prompts you to do these? Makes me feel good when I do. A recent doctor visit, that's a good prompt. Yep. Peace of mind. To stay sane and get ready for your wedding day. Yes, Emily. And de-stress keeps me motivated. Perfect. These are great answers. Do you ever struggle with them? Do you ever struggle keeping motivated and continuing your mental, physical, spiritual, emotional workouts? Hard to keep on a schedule sometimes. Yes, it is. Yes, Tracy struggles. It's hard on the busy days. Yes, that's for certain. Somebody else says, not really, been doing it my whole life. If you've got a good routine down, then that's great. So the title of today's forum is There Is No Strength Without Struggle. And what that really means is it's in the hard times when we're struggling, either physically, mentally, spiritually, that we find we build strength. It's those things that challenge us. As you can see on the graphic there, true strength is revealed in difficult times. So today's forum is interactive. Please use the chat box. There will be a bunch of questions that I go through. I'm gonna see if I can switch to the next slide. Perfect. You're going to find a lot of these throughout the presentation as well. And they're really good quotes and motivators in there too. So strength does not come from winning. Your struggles develop your strengths. And when you go through hardships and decide not to surrender, that is strength. So what we will cover today, we'll talk a little bit about what club strengthening is. We'll talk about what the process is. What does a strong club look like? We will review some best practices for fundraising, meetings, recruiting, service, and engagement. And then we'll share a couple of resources to get you going. So first, let's start with what is club strengthening. So put in the chat box what you think club strengthening is. Adding more hands of service, engaging all members. Building a strong relationship with each other. Yes. Making the club experience better. Strength, what you do as a club and your individual members. Yep. Making sure all members are heard. That's important. Education, indeed. So I think all of those really fit into a couple of these buckets, but club strengthening, as we look at it from Kiwanis International perspective, it addresses areas of concern within your club. It helps uncover opportunities for improvement. It's not just about membership. And essentially what it is it's a continuous improvement process. So what is that process? First of all, it's unique to each club. It begins with assessments. For your club, this would include member assessments and a community analysis. Both of these tools, which are available, they're ACE tools, and we'll talk about that a little bit later, but those are tools that are available to help you do member satisfaction surveys and community surveys. It also begins with creating a strategic plan. And a few years ago, Kiwanis International rolled out the I plan, and it changed into strategic plans, and it gave all clubs an opportunity to really learn how to create SMART goals, which are specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-oriented. There needs to be a goal for each action in that plan, and the goals really tell you. The goals will. The action plan needs to tell who will do what, when it will be done, where it will be done, and the resources needed. So it's really a roadmap to help your club in terms of any area along the strategic plan, whether it's membership, service, fundraising, etc. And then seek guidance and implement that plan once you have that strategic plan developed. That comes from engaging with the membership, making sure that there's a lot of buy-in from your membership in developing that plan and how it will be executed. Questions in the chat about what the process generally is for club strengthening? While I monitor that, I will remind you with this graphic that it's a process, it's a process, it's a process, and change takes time. It's a continual process, as I said earlier. So, next question, and I'm looking for answers in the chat here too. What does a strong Kiwanis club look like? An engaged membership, crazy busy, yes. Okay. Active participants in many projects. These are good answers. Regular meetings and service. Strong leadership, fun, that's an important factor. A dynamic membership, a variety of projects, visible in the community. Yeah. These are all really great. So diverse, yes, Michael, that's a very key part. It's a diverse. So visible in the community, it should also reflect the community. And sometimes we have diverse communities, and sometimes we don't have diverse communities. But in either regard, your Kiwanis Club should reflect the makeup of your community, and it should meet the community needs in that reflection as well. We all know that every community is unique in the needs and the opportunities for service, and a strong Kiwanis Club will meet those needs as best as it can. Meeting member needs is also very important, making sure that it's fun and that there are plenty of service opportunities, absolutely. Every club really also needs an active membership committee, a dedicated group focused on club strengthening. These are the members that develop the plans and carry them out. You want to prepare your club to be inviting to new members. Why do you love your club? What makes it a group others want to join? Are there improvements to make it even better? So you basically want continuous recruitment. But a strong club too, and on the fourth bullet point there is, it really has a good balance of those things. So a lot of those things that you guys shared in the chat, it balances those really well. And what that balance, we talk about like work-life balance. Well, we don't work 50% of the time and sleep 50% of the time, but there's a balance. And we, some of us maybe work 50% of the time or volunteer 50% of the time, but it's not necessarily an equal balance, but there is balance to it. So a good proportion of fundraising, hands-on service, social activities as well in the club. And then of course, continuously recruiting. With that is a really great phrase that says, nothing will work unless you do. And I think that's a really key quote to remember as we're trying to strengthen our clubs. It takes work, absolutely. So how do we do some of that work? And here are some ideas. So here's a little warning. The following slides contain some great ideas. Not all my own, most of them are borrowed or shared. They are ideas that can be implemented by any size club and at any time. So, best practices for fundraising we're going to share a little bit about today. First question is, what are you raising funds for? People are more inclined to give to a specific program or cause. So keep that in mind when you're finding out what you're raising funds for. The next step is to set a goal method of how you're going to raise those funds. Showcase the need. This is a very prevalent thing. Showing what you're raising funds for and how a contribution to your fundraiser can help. Here are some statistics for you. 57% of people who watch a nonprofit video make a donation. Today's donors want to know their contributions are making a difference. Millennials and Generation Z are especially motivated by a sense of social responsibility. They want to be a part of the change-making process. Additionally, 69% of individuals that give money to charities say that an email is the best way for nonprofits to express gratitude. A printed letter and a text message come next on the list with 14% and 6%. Even less than that for percentage of donors to say that they prefer to receive thanks or gratitude via printed message, social media message, or a phone call. Here are some great interesting statistics. Both men and women prefer to donate using plastic. 52% of men and 54% of women. So is your club ready to handle that? The silent generation, primarily born in 1928 to 1944, is by far the most generous generation. The average online donation among Americans in 2018, I believe the statistic was from, is $128. 80% of donors said that a gift would not motivate them to donate money. So think about that when you're having a fundraising program. Are you trying to give away something as a gift with a donation? Some people are just very generous and will give just to give. They don't necessarily need appreciation tokens or maybe even what the item is that you're trying to sell. 30% of all donations annually in America come in the month of December. Does your club have your primary fundraisers in that month, or do you have a special fundraising drive that really targets that? When people are more open and more willing to give, is a prime opportunity to ask. And this is a great statistic, 64% of all US donations come from women. So is your marketing and your messaging and your fundraising geared towards women? So here are a couple of ideas for virtual fundraising. Think outside the box, particularly in these pandemic times. And I know some of these ideas were shared in some of the other forums today too, but we'll share a few again. Think about drive-through meals. This could be pancakes, barbecue, spaghetti, etc. These are all things that you can make and take. Just have people order them online ahead of time, and they can come by and pick it up at a predetermined time. One of my home clubs did a barbecue on Labor Day last year, and we had everybody order online. So we only cooked the number of meals that we needed. And we had a 3-hour window that people could choose to come and pick up their meal, and we had them ready to go. It was a super easy and safe way to do it. Product sales. Think about things, sites like Bonfire or Printful. They make it easy to create and sell items online. These are all direct to consumer fulfillment. So a lot of times you don't have to have any hands-on activity with it. You just basically are responsible for promoting the sale. You could also work with local vendors as well. And I would remind you to use a Kiwanis licensed vendor if you are using anything with the Kiwanis or K family logos on there. You could also do value and discount cards. Those are great. Those are opportunities to help support local businesses. A lot of clubs, I think there are several in Pennsylvania that do this. Great opportunity to raise funds and again, support local businesses. They don't have to be specific to just meals. They could be any type of discount opportunities. Mystery meal. This is a great one that I know a couple of clubs have done. It supports the local businesses, but basically work with a few local restaurants to offer a special menu for delivery or takeout. Buyers are surprised by what they get when it's either brought to their door by your volunteers or they're told where to pick it up the day of the event. So they could get a good mystery meal out of that. And again, it supports the local business. At-home project kits are really a fun way to do a little bit of service in tandem with some product sales. This could be crafts, plants, cards, etc. You could do it on a model of that the buyer creates an item. They buy a kit that has an item that they create for themselves, and then another one could be given to someone else as a gift. So sort of a pay it forward. It helps encourage service at home. Peer-to-peer fundraising activities and challenges, similar to Network for Good, GoFundMe, other peer-to-peer platforms can get you going with straight up cash donations. Cash is king, and hopefully you don't have a lot of overhead in operating those types of programs. Your platform can also be offline and somewhat traditional. Just with a traditional call to action, encouraging people to give or to match donations, which is always a fun way to do it. Roundup programs or cash boxes. Think about putting these in local retailers. They can work equally well as a peer-to-peer campaign. They do have some extra logistics to consider in terms of security and picking up and counting money. Coin shortages, as we are experiencing nationally still. But those are other great programs to consider. You could also look at educational classes to offer. Do you or your members have special skills that they can teach others? Host classes online and ask for a suggested donation. Great sites like Facebook, 32auctions.com, Octavia. Those are great ways to hold online auctions and raffles, other great ways to engage your local business community and people in the community to donate as well. And scavenger hunts are also a great virtual type of fundraising activity. You could set something up in your local community that people can do a scavenger hunt on their own time, very socially distanced and safe as well. So no matter how slow you go, you're still lapping everybody on the couch, right? Is that a good one, right, Kathy? I see you bobbing your head there too. So don't have to do it all overnight, but that's another key takeaway to remember in club strengthening. Okay, let's talk about some best practices for meetings. First, as with anything else, have a plan. Plan your program, have a set agenda for every meeting. This is a huge component of the member experience. Your members will more readily invite prospective members when they know that there is a good program planned, and programs should be planned at least 2 weeks in advance. Don't just have a meeting to talk over fundraisers and the mundane things in the club. Expand your speaker base while meeting virtually. We've really been given an opportunity, and I've suggested, and I think KI is going to start working on a speakers bureau or a resource where we can have a list of speakers that are available, so we can really broaden our horizons in these times to learn about a variety of topics. This should make it fun and exciting to invite people to, especially to invite guests to the meeting. Know your tech. If you're using an online program to run your meetings, invest some time to learn the platform inside and out. Know how to set up a meeting, invite others, how to admit people to the room, share the hosting, how to record it, how to mute participants, how to spotlight speakers, share your screen, and then also know how to help others do that too. So know your tech. When you're having a meeting, of course, just as you would in person, welcome visitors. Greet new visitors at the first part of the meeting and introduce them to the club. In the couple of weeks that follow their first initial visit to your club, send a follow-up letter or postcard, even if they didn't come back immediately. Let them know that you appreciated their attendance and that they're welcome back. Stay young. This is a fun one too. Invite kids to be part of your programs. Remember, we're an organization dedicated to helping youth, so keeping young people as the focus of your program agenda. This could even include showing a video of kids at play or kids in need to remind members of the mission. And Kiwanis International has a lot of those videos on their website too that are great 30 to 90 second videos that talk and just remind people about the Kiwanis mission and the kids that we're helping. And last but not least, don't forget the fun. Every 2 months or so, or however periodically you would like, host a fun program to which members can invite their friends and family. So fun programs would be a bingo night or a movie night. There are programs through Netflix where you can watch movies together. You could have a book discussion, etc. A coloring contest or crossword challenge, just something fun and a little offbeat. So the next area on club strengthening we're going to talk about, which is a big component of it, are some best practices for recruiting. The first thing in recruiting, just as in anything with Kiwanis, is to know your why. What's your Kiwanis why? Have your Kiwanis why at the ready. Why did you join? Why have you stayed? Be ready to share this most personal story with other people. It's these personal stories that really help inspire other people to want to join Kiwanis. Practice asking questions. Keep it conversational. Ask personal questions, such as, what are you passionate about? What type of volunteer service do you currently do? Do you know what the needs are of our community? How would you like to give back or get involved? And then use those answers to craft your response, using your abbreviated Kiwanis why. Be timely and respectful, and then provide a call to action. That could be come to a meeting, check out our website, follow us on Facebook, provide them with a card or a flyer, give them some type of a call to action to engage next. Making it personal. Send a letter of invitation to every prospective member who has been invited to join your club. Each month, compose a prospect list of names and addresses and share this list with current members, asking them to contact those on the list. It doesn't have to just be the chair of your membership committee. A personal invitation to come and join can be very effective. And then again, make it friendly and make it competitive too. Has your club held a membership contest? And why would you do that? Well, it gives everyone an excuse to ask others to come and to join Kiwanis. If you get your club excited and they just ask people to join, you will grow. Define a program for this and include points or awards for guests and prospects, not just new members that have joined the club. And provide incentives and prizes, but always keep the Kiwanis mission as the focal point. I also came across something else. I didn't have this on the slide because I just read this yesterday. and it kind of goes along with the recruitment too, but it's also understanding your audience too. This is from a 2005 study that was done, and it makes a distinction between old volunteering and new volunteering. And the author, Walter Rayberg, argues that old volunteering was based on a connection to religious or political communities and was motivated by a sense of membership, altruism, and concern for the collective good. In new volunteering, he asserts that volunteers are not particularly loyal to an organization, that they tend to be choosy about what they do, and they expect some personal benefit from their volunteer experience. And we've seen this shift in Kiwanis International with our membership trends, but this is more than a statistical trend. It reflects a more profound social change, particularly here in the United States, where people have become more concerned with personal growth and identity than they have in the previous values of being part of a local community or a traditional institution or a set ideology. And knowing that distinction between old volunteering and new volunteering will help you in talking to your audience and what appeals to them to join a club. And the real takeaway on that is that nonprofits like Kiwanis need to become even more mindful in order to assure that volunteer efforts are well-defined, well-managed, and meaningful to those who participate. So let's talk about a couple of ideas for recruiting. We have, how much time do we have? Somebody throw it in the chat. Let's see how much I need to power through this.
You have until 11:45. So
okay, so we're gonna go fast. Target groups: 25% of all American adults volunteer. Look at a roster analysis. This is an ACE tool that's available. You can target young professionals, which are the Gen Y, the workhorses, which are typically your Gen X. The wealthiest are the baby boomers. The most generous, as I said earlier, the silent generation. And then, of course, we have the former members, SLP, and family members. So those are good target groups to know out. Reaching out, so know where to find people. Be visible, set up at a farmer's market or a craft fair. Provide an activity for kids that double as exposure to their adults that you'd like to have join your club. You can go old school with flyers, mailers, door hangers, network through the chamber or other networking organizations. These are great places to find speakers for your programs, sponsors, and members. Have something worth sharing. Again, be direct and ask people. I always love this as an old sales adage: a no likely means not now. So again, if it's a prospect that comes to your club or says, I'm not interested now, they might be in a few months or a few years. So keep in touch with people. All right. Strength doesn't come from what you can do. It comes from overcoming the things you once thought you couldn't. So here's some best practices for virtual service, which is another balanced area of your strong Kiwanis club. Ensure there is interest from your members in service. Check in frequently with them to make sure that it still addresses a need, the service that you're performing. And then how will you measure and share the impact of the service? This goes to sharing with the community something that's impactful and showing why they need to join Kiwanis to help out. That could be in terms of hours, number of people served, dollars raised, etc. On the interest part of it too, are members excited about it? Are they willing to help out? Does it align with your club mission? And also remember on the metrics and the impact too, to report that monthly to Kiwanis International. Feature it on your social media, in your newsletter. Call out members that participate in activities on their own or together when you meet. This is a culmination of a list of a few things that have been shared by others for virtual volunteering projects, things that can be done remotely, data entry or administrative tasks, creative or professional skills. Catch a Fire is a great one to use if you have some type of a professional skill that can help out a nonprofit. Mask making has been very popular, knitting, public cleanup and beautifications. Those are projects that can be done very socially distanced. Making home kits, discovery projects for kids, STEM types of projects too that help them learn, art projects as well, supply gathering, school supplies, homeless kits, etc. Here's a great resource, story time. If you want to read to some children, you can use this as a great tool to do that. Points of Light is a great foundation that also keeps an extensive list of virtual volunteering inspiration. And then I learned about this one recently called Sages and Seekers, and it's a program that pairs adults with high school students for mentor programs on a short-term basis. You have to be at your strongest when you're feeling at your weakest. So think about that when the chips are down and your club is struggling and you want the best for your Kiwanis club. So you have to be at your strongest when you're feeling at your weakest. So here's some best practices for member engagement. Promote camaraderie. Email members a copy of your club directory at least every 6 months or as soon as a new member joins the club. The club members must be able to communicate with each other outside of meetings. Foster social activities. Again, happy hours, member profiles either written or presented, game nights, keeping it fun. Roll out the red carpet for your new members. Make a meaningful induction ceremony, even if it's virtual. Mail or drop off their pin and certificate to show on screen. Feature them in the newsletter, website, social media. Appoint them to lead a project if they desire and get them involved on a committee right away. Permit them time to share their story as well. Show that you care. Send a "We miss you" card or note to members who have missed a few meetings, even if you know why they've been away. Especially send one if you know someone is sick. No matter why they've been absent, send a note telling them that they're important and they're missed. Communicate often and in many formats. At least quarterly, publish a club newsletter that's mailed or emailed to each member and others in the community, including your supporters, your donors, your visitors to the club. Have additional copies at meetings for guests and prospects. Send weekly emails to members reminding them of programs, special projects, and fundraisers. And here are some best practices for community engagement. So showing appreciation. Send thank you notes for every donation, no matter how small. Include a picture of your fundraiser project that they were a part of, particularly any news clippings. It's easy and impressive to the community and prospective members. And brag on your team. Really show off your volunteers and the impact that your donors have made. Have a communication plan. This is a public relations strategy that can embrace technology. So here's a little graphic too that kind of shows you U.S. social media use by age in the United States. While Facebook is still the primary platform of choice, younger generations are moving away from Facebook using things like TikTok and Snapchat. How can social media or how can nonprofits use social media? Again, promote your giving campaigns, show off your volunteers and actions, introduce followers to your cause. Once you've mastered the art of the social media post, consider organizing a sponsored campaign or an influencer partnership. Influencer accounts have lots of viewers and can draw attention to your cause. So the difference between wanting and achieving is discipline. Here are a couple of resources to get you going and to help you with some of that discipline. We have ACE tools. These are Achieving Club Excellence. These are available on the Kiwanis.org website. There are club coaches available. There are several that are, more than several that are trained in the Pennsylvania district or even outside your district that can help you virtually. So plug in with a club coach, reach out to your membership team for support there. There's also lots of support from district and international officers and staff. And then also think about professional support. There are a lot of professional nonprofit organizations, other local foundations that can help you too. So when it comes to club strengthening, when you feel like quitting, think about why you started. I think that's the most profound thing. Always think about why you started. It's not easy. It's a process. It's a process. It's a process. And there is no strength without struggle. I welcome any emails, phone calls, chats in the comment box. I know we're running out of time, and I appreciate the opportunity to share today.
Thank you, Jim.